Here it is, Saturday morning, and we were going to go garage sailing, but it's raining. Yeah, we've had more rain in the last week and a half up here than we have in the past 2 months. I live in an area where it seems like here the last couple years the rain just comes up from the southwest, splits right around me to the north and the south, reconverges to the northeast and races off and becomes a monsoon to people about 30 miles north of me. Case in point, yesterday where I work at, they got 1.5 inches of rain up there and it barely sprinkled here at the house. Crazy. But I really need for it to quit raining. I gotta get this doggone yard mowed some point. I've mowed bits and pieces and here and there, like down front and over in the field and off to the southwest corner of the property. But there's spots I got around my trees there I haven't mowed in probably 3 weeks. Because you'll mow a little bit and it'll rain, or it'll be real dewy or foggy in the morning. We had some pretty nasty fog here the last couple days this past week. I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It was foggy. You could barely see past the end of the hood on the truck going to work in the mornings. And that'd last till 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Burn away and be a nice afternoon after that. This is good. We need the rain. My pond's about 4 foot down, so it'll be greatly benefited down there before winter comes. You know what, guys? I've grown to hate these godforsaken CFLs. You know, even though the brand name ones are branded GE, Sylvania, you know, all the common branded names, they're still simply built Chinese trash. Now, I have been keeping the internals of these after you open them up, and I'll show you here in a bit. There's circuit board in there. It's got various diodes and capacitors and resistors. I'll keep all that stuff. I can use some of that, but it still tests good. But I pulled this one out of a ceiling light fixture in our back porch about a week or so ago, because it was just barely glowing down here at the bottom where it turned black, and it had gotten really, really hot at the base. Now, that light we leave on in the morning for the cat out there, just kind of get up, move around, get active, and it'll stay on for 2 or 3 hours. And I noticed it was a little darker in the one corner of the room than it was the other. And I went out there and took that cover off. It's got a bowl that fits up over the lights, and something smelled hot. It was this thing getting hot. And some of these, my mother and father-in-law had one that actually burned a hole through the side. Something got hot in there, and it was still operating. Now, what had happened if they'd left the house and left that light on just for safety's sake, so they could see when they come back? You all know what would have happened. It would have burnt the damn house down. These things, I think, are unsafe. And, you know, everybody's had to complain about them, but they're unsafe for the landfill because of the lead-like material or whatever's inside of these, the coating, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't like the things. They give off unnatural light. Sure, they'll last for years. We've had some around here that have been here since before we bought the house, so I know they're pushing 9-10 years. But occasionally we had one in the living room. We were just sitting there watching TV, and boop, it was done. It done went out. Now, this one had gotten down to where it wouldn't operate. It was just glowing at the bottom. So this morning I decided, I had this old lamp sitting out here, I'd just plug it in and see what it did, and lo and behold, it still works. Now, you'll never see it because of the glare of the light on the camera, but down here at the bottom, right in here, again the glare, it's turning just completely pitch black. So we're going to let this thing cook for a little while and see what happens. I'm curious to see if it goes back off again. That black is getting blacker. Like I said, the video won't show that. Very interesting. And you can kind of see it flickering down at the very bottom, right in here. So let's leave it on for a while and see what it does. You know, it's interesting sometimes what you can pick up at a garage sale for $1 bill. Now, we actually did make it out to the garage sales after the rain you seen this morning in the beginning of the video finally let up, which now it's about 6 hours later and it's raining again pretty steady outside. But here we have a Kodak EasyShare C533 5 megapixel camera, which it looks a lot like the one I'm filming this with, which is a C330 4 megapixel. But I didn't even see that camera at first. What caught my eye was this EasyShare printer. Now the C330 I'm filming this video with actually has one of these removable plastic inserts. I'd have to find it because I've had this camera for 8 years and I don't know where it's ever gotten to. But this C330 ought to fit that. And kind of looking at the size of the camera, the way this looks, it might fit right on there with that insert, but I don't think it will. Here you have a little door you'll open up after your photos have printed. They'll come out the front. On the sides where your color cartridge goes to print with. Here's where you'll dock the camera, of course. This side you have a access port for a memory stick, memory of some sort, and on the back you have your power and your USB input. I'm guessing from a computer. You could also print photos off your computer off of this unit too. Here we have the AC power supply, and here's the USB cable. And the camera also came with a rechargeable battery pack. Excuse me for a second. This has been on about an additional 2 minutes after I shut the camera off, and we're starting to see some reduced light output in it, even though it probably looks just as bright on the camera as it did before. But that little black spot at the bottom I was telling you all about is just hotter than a firecracker, and it changes from real black to like a kind of a light gray color as this thing's on. And you can kind of, it just flicked. And it gets bright again and it dims back down. But I'm noticing at the top it's starting to draw back up in here. Okay, like I was saying, this camera also came with a rechargeable battery pack, which I don't have the charger, but this is an exact identical newer model of what the C330 takes. They had a red label on, but they look exactly the same, and they snap into a wall charger. Now here we had the paper cartridge for the printer. I'm not exactly sure where this fits in. I'm going to have to do some exploring with this. It's loaded with paper. Figure out how that works. But anyway, here's the camera. This is a 5 megapixel camera. Again, this is a model C533. 5 megapixel. Looks identical to the 330 that I'm filming with. It's got a little bit bigger display on it. Share buttons. A few buttons are in a different spot. The SD card slot's a little different. But what happened, this got dropped and it broke the front clip off of the battery compartment. I'm going to see if I can do something about that. I don't like that duct tape. It's obviously been on there for a while. It works, but we're not going to have that. So let's go ahead and shut down the C330 and flip over to the 533. I can only take about 3 minutes of video with this because it's a higher resolution. I think this is like 640p is what this thing records in, so we'll see how it does. Hopefully it does pretty good. And finally, after about 7 minutes, the whole thing just decided to crap out. And it got extremely hot. Yep, I think this one's finally done. Yeah, we'll let it sit for a few minutes and see what happens. It was just on. You kind of see it shaking around. It was very unsteady in brightness, and then dimmed down a little bit, and then get real bright, and dim back down again. Nope, I'd say she's done. And here's my C330 that I do all my YouTube filming with. We're currently filming with the C533 5 megapixel EasyShare Kodak camera. And I can already tell a pretty noticeable difference in the display. Stuff I'm looking through the viewfinder at, like my camera here, I can see the lettering on the front. That's amazing. This is not an autofocus camera just like the C330. You gotta kind of keep your distance from stuff. Wow, that's pretty impressive. You can tell small things it doesn't take much to amaze me. Let's go back over here. I can show you a little bit different, better detail what came with this. Like I said, there's the paper cartridge. Here's the battery pack. It's rechargeable if it's any good. Here's the printer. And here's the printer's power supply. Now I can kind of kill a few birds with the same stone here. Earlier in the video I was going to show you about the CFL. This is what the inside of a CFL looks like. Some capacitors, some resistors, a few diodes, a little transformer in there, probably for multiple voltages that these run on or convert over to. I'll save the circuit board out of this. I'll get rid of the bulb section and the base. Those are no good to me. But the capacitors, a few of these capacitors, like that's a 22 microfarad at 200 volt. Some of them will be pretty useful in radio repair, I reckon. The update on this tiller, it's been put back together, and the carburetor linkage has been hooked back up. It's awaiting a test. I get it out. It's raining here again, like I said, and this old timer came in the shop yesterday, and boy, oh boy, has this poor thing ever been rode hard and put away wet. The front bearings in the tines are completely gone. You can wiggle them whole tines. The bearings are gone. The bearings up here in the spindle are gone. This whole thing will raise up and down about an inch or two. The engine itself is a 13,000 series aluminum Briggs & Stratton 5 horsepower engine. And believe it or not, in the shape it's in, it will run. It smokes a little bit. Compression should be about 45 to 50 pounds on this thing. It runs about 21. We didn't have spark. We had to take the flywheel off and clean the magnets up on the flywheel. Got the wrong belt. The belt was too tight on it. Right now I have the gas tank and the carburetor off. Going to give it the same ball bearing and kerosene treatment like I did the tiller up here. And here's the carburetor. It needs a thorough cleaning. It's pretty tore up. It's nasty. I think this new camera is going to work out pretty good. Takes a pretty clear video. I need to find something small. Let's see here. Let's try. It seems to find that pretty good. How about something like this box up here? Well, that don't look too bad. How about this cartoon on the wall? Ah, impressive. Isn't that about fine? Okay, so one of the things I'm not digging on this camera is the audio. It's very distorted and sounds awful compared to my C330. That one always had what I thought was a muffled sounding mic. But what it lacks in audio quality I should say, it seems to make up for in picture quality. It's very dark back here in this corner though. If I can get right in there on stuff that I couldn't before. So, I guess the sacrifice will be made for better picture quality over audio quality. But I'm going to play this back because maybe talking a little softer might give it better audio, but I don't know. But I sure do like the video quality of this camera. It's just a shame that sounds so horrible when you play it back. It's my Stewart Warner. Over here, I'll get back on this one of these days. I need to get the record changer tore apart, put back together as the Westinghouse. And there's my GE Porta Hi-Fi. So guys, for now, I think that's going to about do it. There's a speaker out of my RCA 210. That's a little Philco portable set. Back here's the chassis out of the RCA 210, this radio right here. There's a TEAC A650 quadraphonic tape deck. A little Montgomery Ward Sears solid state 13-inch black and white. And my two Westinghouse reel-to-reels down in the bottom there. So for now guys, it's going to be about it. And we'll yak at you all later.